Hello drone racers, I'm Mark, and today on Drone Racer 101 we're going to check out the SJ RG01 goggles again and see if it might be possible to fix the screens, because if you didn't see the review before, these are kind of great. Their total downfall was the low resolution of the screen. When I first looked at these and ordered them, it said on Banggood something like it was a 920 by 192 screen. That led some of us to think there might be one screen in here that's being split in software that the two sides are seen. Kind of like if you turn the Amway Commanders to 3D mode and you actually see the screen split in half. Now if you look on Banggood, they've updated it. Now it says dual display with a resolution of 960 by 240, which is also weird considering in the video it's a 4:3 resolution. It's not 16 by 9, which that's not even 16 by 9, right? My guess is that that's still completely wrong and it's actually a 320 by 240 resolution. That's about what it looks like. Because it's such a big screen, the pixels are really, really large. So what we're gonna do today is break these down and see if there's a way to replace the screens. Are they something that we can easily find? And maybe some of you guys out there will be able to help us find some components that we can put in here to fix the one problem. Now I have already started this process, so I'm going to show you what I've done and what we found. So I'm going to start by removing the battery. You're going to want to take that out for a couple of reasons. One, there's 4 obvious screws here that you have to take out, and then it still won't come apart. There's 2 more screw holes here and here, so you have to remove the battery, get that out of the way to get to those stickers. After you do that, the top lifts off pretty easily. So this top piece is connected with 3 connections, which I've already disconnected. One is the power cable here that feeds through, and annoyingly, or good or bad, this doesn't quite fit through here, so it makes it a little difficult to take off. There's also 2 zero insertion force cables here, 2 ribbon cables connected to the connectors on the top. So these are pop-up connectors here. You don't have to slide them out and lift them, they just pop up directly. So I popped that one up, and then this one was really easy to get to. So open the door and get those cables disconnected and out of the way. So then from here, you've got the basically eye sockets, and I'm going to use the wrong terms on all of this. I'm just a guy taking stuff apart. Reminds me when I was 5 and took apart my Millennium Falcon. Hopefully I can put this together as well. So then the rubber eye sockets are actually pretty well designed. They fit around the plastic eye cups on the side here, but without the screws all in place, this can be removed to get it out of the way, maybe. And mine did come loose a little bit. Here you can see the eye foam, which is a pretty nice fabric. I really like that. I found it comfortable. Is double stick taped to this. It's not Velcro. Unfortunately, in the long run, it's nice to have that Velcro so you can replace it, because this, even though it does seem pretty nice, will wear out over time. So you've got the holes for the optics and then the plate that holds them in place. And this is really, this piece is not held in with screws or anything. You've got 4 screws right here that are holding this whole piece together. There's 2 metal rods that are used for the sliders here. So those will slide back and forth. And you can see these are cut out just enough for that movement. It's not a lot of movement, but it was just enough to make it line up with my eyes pretty perfectly. So we've got to take these 4 screws out also. So then once those lift up, that just slides off and out of the way. And then these also have ZIF sockets that connect them to the board. We're just going to take one of these apart though. It just slides off here, right off the rails. So here's a look at the board itself. I haven't taken the other side off, but you can see the individual components here. For putting it back together, one of the annoyances was getting the overhead strap back in place. This actually slides through the hole here, and there's a metal bar. You could hear it rattling around a little bit. And this slides through there, and then it just kind of fits in a pocket here, which makes it nice and adjustable, but it's kind of hard to line up. So we're going to take a look at the board here. I'm going to go ahead and remove it so we can see if this actually does have true diversity. So that looks like 2 receivers to me. We've got the antenna connections here, and you can see the traces where they are connecting into the receivers. But once I had the right antennas on there, I did seem to have pretty good signal, so that worked out pretty well for me, at least for the channel I was on. I saw Stu had problems with his, depending on what channel he was on, but the channel I was on, which was 5806, I believe, worked out just fine. So then we've got the actual optics here, and this is a nice little twist off. And inside of here you have a Fresnel lens that I could see cases where if these end up becoming popular, this could be replaceable, and you could change this with different strengths of lenses. So that could be really nice to make these adaptable for a lot of people. I mean, for a couple dollars, you could buy different strength lenses and make it very universal. So there were 4 screws holding this piece together. So we have the connections that was to the main circuit board, and then basically an adapter from what I can tell. It's just to adapt this to the board made. So I'm guessing the screen itself, they're purchasing and it comes with this cable, but then they need to adapt it to what they've created on the board. So I just took an X-Acto knife and removed, this is just double stick taped to here, and then this slides open to reveal the board that they've got. So then I'm going to pop open the board here to take that off, and then we'll see if the screen will slide out with the ribbon cable that's there. So there's what's printed on the back of the board. Looks like this was made in 2012. I'm guessing that's what that means. This is old. So maybe with the part number here, ideally what would happen is we would be able to find a replacement for just this piece with, say, double the resolution, and then the rest of the board would be able to run it, which I'm not really optimistic about. But if we can find a board or try here, I will gladly buy one and install it and test it. So looking at the board, it is 37 millimeters wide by 32, 33 millimeters tall, and 2-ish millimeters wide. Now these are cheap calipers, so I'm just using rounded numbers here. So now the question is, can we find these screens? I have not Googled these numbers yet. I'm going to do that next, but if you found this useful, leave a like down below and leave a comment with what you think the next step should be. Do you have any ideas on what we can do to realistically make this work and be much more usable? Assuming these screens really are 320 by 240, if we can get a 640 by 480 screen that would fit this size and fit in there, these would be amazing. There's a lot of ifs going on here. So until next time, remember, this is probably going to stay a pile of parts until we have an idea of what to do for next steps.